And recording.
Yay! Hi
Well,
guys, I'm Sam.
and I'm Mason, and every good show starts with I can't
Right, Cantopany. You guys, if it sounds like it doesn't match when you watch this back, I swear to God, it was at the same time when we were doing it live.
No, it sounded off to me.
It didn't sound off to me at all.
Ooh, well, I guess when we watch the playback, we'll see.
Ah, man. I don't know. It's probably because I have really terrible wireless. Like, I was in a meeting and I got kicked out of my meeting twice. Thank goodness I didn't have my camera on, so nobody knew I was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so goes the trials of working from home.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
I don't have too many meetings, which is okay. I mostly just get left alone, which is kind of good.
Oh, we love progress.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so today we are talking about Together, the series that wrapped up this past weekend.
Yes.
Yes, and we're sorry about the delay on our episode, but sometimes you have to take a sabbatical and then get back when you can get back. But we're here now, and
Mm-hmm.
I've had a chance to listen to multiple opinions on Twitter. I watched a couple of videos, and I can safely say that us being not super positive about this series in no way makes us the villain, because it seems like everyone on the planet has had pretty much the same opinion of things. It was a lot more mixed with Why Are You. I feel like the people who watch Why Are You were very much either you loved it or you hated it. But this
Right.
series, in general, almost everyone has stated their disappointment.
Right. And I think that's because it starts like so strong. Like I would say the first 6 episodes, I was like, each week I was like, I can't wait couldn't wait. You're at the edge of your seat. It was so exciting. And then honestly, the last like 2 to 3 just like, just wah wah, it just dipped completely in quality.
It's really unfortunate because
Mm-hmm.
it's not like this show didn't have the money to do better, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't as hampered by current events as other shows. For instance, Why Are You? A lot of the blame for the problems with Why Are You towards the end of its run have to do with COVID, and that's a
Right.
completely fair place to lay blame.
Right.
But
Right.
Together was completely filmed before COVID even reared its ugly head. In
Right.
fact, I heard that the very last scene of Together, or at least the last scene where he does the scrub concert,
Right.
that was filmed at the beginning of filming.
That doesn't surprise me. I'm sure they got all the scrub scenes out of the way right away.
Oh yeah, because Scrub's like, we're not coming back here.
Yeah, this fucking band is like apparently popular, but also this one college just has them on retainer.
Yeah.
So my suspension of disbelief can go that far though. This isn't CinemaSins. I'm not gonna be like, it's shit because the band was there all the time. It's like, it's whatever. It's
No, the
fine.
band is the theme of the entire show. So, I
Right.
mean, I'm not mad that they're there all the time. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, I wonder if part of the reason why the concert scene read so cold is because the actors didn't know each other at that point.
I don't think that's a fair excuse because as an actor, you should be good enough to get in and out of emotional scenes like that. Because
I
sometimes you're
think
not given huge parts and you just have to do a small emotional scene in a film or a TV show.
I could believe that, but I mean, depending on what they were told was coming after that or where they thought that their characters were going, that high five might have seemed like a completely reasonable reaction at that point in the relationship. But if they went back and they refilmed things or they changed the script, which I think that whole Pam thing was a change of script, then once you put it all together and put it in the order that the director wants it to be in, those emotions don't read as well as at the time that they were filming it.
Right, right.
And so, I mean, I'm not saying that that's to blame, but I could see where as an actor you would be confused if you weren't told there's going to be this big breakup and this is your reunion scene.
Right. I feel like they had to have known that this was the finale scene though. Like I wouldn't believe that they just like I believe that Pam could have been a rewrite. Is it Pam or Parm?
I think her name is Pam.
Okay.
I feel like whenever I watch the subtitles, her name is Pam.
Okay, we'll go with Pam. So for wrong, we're wrong. Sorry.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like I could definitely see that being a rewrite, and we should talk about that in a minute. But specifically for the concert scene, I feel like they knew that was going to be a finale scene from the get-go.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think it was just bad directing that they didn't. I probably just some bad directing because we never got the kiss. We should have. Like, and that's what a lot of people are annoyed about is like you spend all this time with these characters and it's like they finally reunite in the last scene and they high five and you were like you the viewer are like, I mean, all right, like it is what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. So I feel like because you and I have talked about this show together already, we're kind of jumping forward than where we would be normally on our show. So let's start with the beginning, the synopsis. I will let you explain what this story is about, if there is even any explanation to be given on what the story is about.
So essentially what we're given is Tyne is a university student, I don't remember the major, and he's being pestered by a boy named Green to date him. And in order to get Green off of his back, he tries to get the most popular boy in school, Sarawat, to fake date him, basically to get Green off his back. Tyne is kind of like this playboy. He gets around with a lot of girls, has never really had like a long-term relationship. And Sarawat is this quiet, mysterious boy that everyone and their mother just wants to fuck. So,
Including I.
yeah, no, he is the internet's boyfriend for sure.
Mhm.
Um, and so basically, it just becomes how it was fake dating at first, and then it turns into some real dating. And that's just the overall plot. I feel like that goes out the window episode 6, though.
Yeah. So one thing I was never really clear on, and I feel like it was implied but not stated outright. Did Green have a real crush on Tyne, or did Green pretend to be interested in Tyne to drive him to Sarawat? Because I feel like I've heard two sides of or two opinions on this, and I really don't know what to think.
Mm, it feels unclear to me because Green's whole thing, Green was hitting on Tyne, but he was hitting on Tyne partly just to like make P. Dean jealous. And I feel like I don't think he was purposefully being like, I'm pushing Tyne to Sarawat. I feel like that would be I mean, I don't know, honestly, because then there's times where, didn't Sarawat and Green kind of come up with parts of their plan together?
That's what it seems like, especially because Sarawat knew that Green and Dim were going together. And he
Right,
knew that from the beginning. And
right,
so I feel like if I knew that information and you asked me to be your fake boyfriend, I probably would have gone to my friend Deem and be like, what's going on? I heard your boyfriend is chasing this new guy around school. Are you guys having a fight? Are y'all broken up?
right.
And so a lot of the time, especially when they first met each other in front of Tyne, it's
Hmm.
almost like they act like strangers because Green is like, who's this?
Right,
But you know this man because he knows about you and your boyfriend.
right.
So that's why I feel like it was kind of a setup. And with that, if it is actually a setup, I have a lot of questions about Sarawat.
It does, yeah. I mean, because we know that, because basically we think that Sarawat and Tyne like got together in happenstance, but apparently Sarawat had been like planning this like massive, I'm gonna date this boy for like a year. So like episodes 1 through 6 are basically kind of planned by Sarawat, we find out. Um,
Yeah.
which is weird. A little creepy, not gonna lie. Um,
It's not creepy because he's cute though.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, this show just leaves you with a lot of unanswered questions. But there's some good moments. Like man, I just feel bad. We talked about this too, how it just seems like we're ripping on these shows, and it's like I feel like the last few shows we watched, we were purposefully watching bad media. Like we knew it was gonna be bad. It was gonna be like fun bad. But together, we actually really liked for many, many weeks. And it's just the last 2 weeks, it was like, now what the fuck we gonna do, you know? Um,
Yeah.
so we're not out here to get these shows, but
And we talked about it last night because, one of the things that annoys Mason more than anything else is people who have critiques but don't have answers.
yes.
People who just shit on stuff for the purpose of shitting, that's not really his bag.
Well, it's not necessarily don't have answers. It's more like don't tell me something is bad and don't without explaining why. Like if you said the last 2 episodes of Together were bad and then you couldn't explain it, I wouldn't know what to say to you, even if I agreed. And if you said last 2 episodes are really good, I'd be like, why? And if you can't come up with anything, again, like how is this a conversation? How am I gonna get on your side? Because all you did was say it's good, but you don't have anything to back it up with, you know?
Right. And since we are trying our hardest not to be hypocrites, at least until we start talking about Tharn type, then we are here to give you the why the last couple of episodes were bad and what we would have done different that would have felt more genuine to the characters.
Yeah. I think we should leave that one to you because you came up with a brilliant idea for what we should have done with the characters. So,
Okay, so you give the why the last 2 episodes were bad, and I'll give the what should have been done instead.
so the last 2 episodes don't quite work for me because the character motivations don't really make any sense and they're a bit unclear. It also just seems like Tyne and Sarawat, like their characters are just acting different than how they normally would based on what we've been given. Um, like we don't ever get too much of a sense that Tyne is like the most insecure person ever. Because when he sees Sarawat and Pam like hugging and Pam saying, I love you, he is like unconsolable. I mean, he has such a bad panic attack, he has to go to the hospital. And it's like, this came out of nowhere because I feel like earlier in the series, he would have just been like, dude, what the fuck, you know? Um, like he was pretty, not necessarily like confrontational, but he's not shy about his feelings a lot of the time. And he'll just kind of say what's on his mind. Um, and then Sarawat, Sarawat spends the entire show working so hard to prove to Tyne that he loves him and that he cares for him, that he wants to be with him. And like he does not much after Pam hugs him. He literally just like tries to catch up with Tyne, and then Mill shows up and he's like, fuck you, Sarawat, I'll take Tyne to the hospital. And it's like he like gives up for like, honestly, it seems like a couple days, maybe a few weeks in the timeline of the show, like they're broken up for a while. And it just doesn't seem in character for Sarawat to just have given up now. Like he's like, it's whatever. And the people that fix the relationship between Tyne and Sarawat is Pam. She's like, oh yeah, that was kind of a misunderstanding. He did write a song for you, a love song for you, here you go. Because the conflict was Tyne thought Sarawat had written a love song for Pam, his ex-girlfriend, and not for Tyne, his new boyfriend. So Tyne was upset. And then we find out, oh, he did write the song for you, which he knew. He knew he wrote a song for, like, Tyne knew Sarawat wrote a song for him because it was a plot point in a few episodes beforehand, you know? So, like, again, they told us that Sarawat wrote a love song for Tyne, and Tyne knows about it and was trying to listen to it because he knew that it existed. In fact, he even heard part of it in one episode. And then a few episodes later, he's like, how could you betray me? And it's like, bitch, this man has done nothing but be probably overly into you, if anything. Like, this is not it. And yeah, no, man, that panic attack was unreal. It was like,
Well,
dude.
it was a panic attack combined with the fact that Mill punched him in the stomach.
Did Mill punched Tyne in the stomach?
Yeah, by accident. I think like time was running and Mill and his friends were coming I guess across, and he ran into Mill and Mill like elbowed him in the stomach when he ran into Mill and his friend. And that's what caused him to vomit, is that he got punched in the stomach,
Oh, I didn't read it as that. I just read it as he
which
just bumped into
is
him.
fucking bizarre.
It's weird. I mean, these boys' loves, they'll do anything to get into the hospital. So you got a
Yeah.
paper cut. Oh my God, baby, we gotta take you to the hospital. I don't want you to lose the finger.
A homeless man who's harassing a dog hits you over the head with a stick. Time to go to the hospital.
We'll talk about that when we get to my engineer. Next week, next week.
uh, okay, so I think you did a really good job about linking the fact that the last two episodes were unbelievable to lack of continuity and out of character motivation.
Thank you.
But because we don't want to keep it on a sour note, and because we actually genuinely do like this show, and we'll talk about what we like about it, I felt like at the end of episode 10, where they were on the camping trip and they had sat at the bus and listened to the song together and then watched the stars, that what would have been a more realistic conflict would be for them to get back to school and for Tyne to run into his ex girlfriend, the one that he tried to use to dissuade Green from thinking that he was gay.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I heard you're going out with Sadawat. How soon are you guys going to break up? Because you never keep anybody. Especially now that it's a guy, you run through all the girls, now you're going to run through all the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And for that to trigger an insecurity in time, that maybe the problem isn't that he can't trust Sadawat, maybe he can't trust himself. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe he's a flaky person and he's afraid that he's going to do something to mess up this relationship or find an excuse to escape from this relationship. And so the last couple of episodes are basically him thinking, I'm not good enough. I don't know how to be a boyfriend. You know, I'm going to fuck all this up. And Sarawat having to be like, well, there is a difference between our relationship and the relationship you had with these other people. And it's because we actually are in love and you were in love with them. And then the song can go with it because
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're not the only one who has insecurities about this relationship, because the lyrics of the song are very much like, are you just nice to everybody and that's the reason why I think I'm special? Am I actually special to you?
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that would be something to where they could come together and be like, yes, we both have insecurities, but we both recognize that this is a very special relationship for us. So as long as we make a promise to each other, or we make it our intentions to keep this thing strong, we don't have to worry about our insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
But I think definitely more playing on Tyne's insecurity as his ability to stay in a relationship would have made more sense based on his past conduct. And also, that's how the show opened. The show
Mm-hmm.
opened with showing Tyne going through girls,
Mm-hmm.
and how it was like he was like the Goldilocks of daters. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this one's too studious, this one's too shallow, this one's too picky, this one doesn't care. And so for him to be like, we're just right, I think that would have been a nice kind of full circle on the storyline,
Mm-hmm.
and would have been a conflict that's much more relatable. You know,
Right.
not every relationship ends because of cheating. Sometimes relationships end because we all have personality issues that maybe we find hard to keep us in relationships.
Right. I definitely think turning the conflict from external to internal is a really good way to go for. I am sorry, my family has just decided to mass text. So if you hear a ding, I honestly don't know how to stop text messages from showing up on my computer. I'll have to fix that for next time, but I apologize for just
It's
now.
okay.
I'm so sorry. We don't know how to edit, so this is like raw as shit.
I was just thinking, damn, I'm making some good points. Listen to all the dings.
We should have this set up like ding, good point.
Uh, so yeah, from external to internal, because
Mhm.
internal honestly is what gets a lot of us in the terrible situations we're in the first place. And also, time spent so long in the middle of the show trying to figure out, do I actually like Sarawat?
Mhm.
Do I like him because he gives me attention, or do I like him because I like him?
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, playing with the inner saboteur, it's fun. In a show, not like in real life.
yeah, in real life, it is the reason why we are where we are.
Amen. So,
So
what did you like about it?
I love man type. Your man is my type. My type is your man. I love them.
I wish we got more, um, but I liked like every scene that they did. I don't know, like Type was such a good tsundere. Like he wasn't ever like super mean, you know? But he was just kind of like, I mean, you're coming on a little strong, dude. And then at the end, he's like, are we doing this or what? Like,
Yeah.
so casual. I liked him. And then at the end, when Man was like, oh, I brought my boyfriend here, I was like, yeah, you did.
They were really adorable. I
Mhm.
think the only thing that is missing from the man type storyline for me is why Type was crying when they went to the retreat.
Mhm.
Because there was a scene when Man followed him to like the Buddhist retreat, and it was nighttime, and Type was crying to himself, and Man slid
Right.
over the box of tissues. They never did explain what he was crying about, and I thought maybe it was from like a past relationship or
Mhm.
something along those lines, but it never came up again.
It would have been nice to get some more emotionality and reasoning behind why Type is so bottled up. Um, and I think like if anything comes from this, I hope that if they ever do a season 2, which man, the numbers for this show are like astounding, like millions of views on YouTube, but like the official streaming for them, I think that's like on Line TV, or the episode in Thailand has like tens of millions of views an episode. So if this doesn't get a second season, what the fuck is, you know? Unless they
Yeah.
feel like this is the most complete story,
I
which
mean, COVID has been a blessing and a curse for a lot of these boys' loves. And for Together,
mhm,
it has been an absolute blessing.
mhm, yeah.
But I mean, if they go into a season 2, I don't want any more cheating bullshit between Sarawat and Time, but I do want to know more about Type, why he has his defenses up, why it's so hard for him to let his guard down, especially because he's Time's older brother,
Mhm,
and Time to me reads like an open book. And it's
right,
very strange to have two children so close in age that are so very different.
right. I would love to see a series where it's the four of them and how they interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sarawat's friend is dating his boyfriend's brother.
Who does not
So
like you.
yeah, like this is a weird connection, fam. Let's discuss. It's
Yes.
a weird family dinner, just a little bit.
It is bizarre. I
Mhm.
have to give it up to Man, the way they wrote his character. There were moments when Man almost went too far, and he always reeled himself back in.
Mhm.
Like, I think the worst thing that he did was setting up the fake profile and having Pear go to meet Type to
Yeah.
pretend to interview him. And then Type's like, this was fake. Don't ever contact me again. He
Mhm.
realized right after it happened, like, this was a bad idea. I shouldn't have done this. And then he had
Mhm.
a person anonymously give back the Apple Pen to Type, which if I was Type, I'd be like, where the hell did you get this? I know I didn't drop this just now. I lost this weeks ago. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
So for those who don't know, the reason so man and Type
Man,
met at some like
like a business seminar or something.
yeah, like a seminar at the university.
Mm-hmm.
Um and Type drops his like Apple Pencil. And Man is like on the scour to find it to him. And then like weeks later he ends up giving it back. And it's like, first of all, Type has another Apple Pencil by now. Second of all, if some random man on the street said, did you drop this? And you had dropped your Apple Pencil weeks before, why would you even take it? Unless you're like a shit person and you'd be like, I guess I need to. Wouldn't you be like, I mean, I did, but you know, that was weeks ago, so it can't be mine. And then like move on with your day. It was a
Yeah,
really weird scene. It's
that
not
was very
the
strange.
worst thing. It was just kind of like,
Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't get that part myself. That was a little weird, but that was the most that ever happened with Man. Like he was very enthusiastic. Like he played it like a Labrador Retriever.
Yeah.
His character was very much a puppy. But like when Type got drunk and needed to go home with someone, Man was seen doing push-ups because he wasn't going to take advantage of Type, even though he's like, he's right there, he's looking good. And
Uh-huh.
then in the morning when they woke up, he's like, why do you think I would do that to you?
Uh-huh.
And, poor Man, he had to go through that excruciatingly terrible internship farewell dinner.
Oh,
The fact that he didn't ball up his fist and fight somebody,
good
he
for
has
him.
more self-control than me.
It would not be me.
No, that guy was so mean. And it's like, first of all, what do you get out of this? Do you just like being an asshole? Because there was no indication that you and Type were dating prior to this or that you were interested in Type. So what is this all about? Why are you being an asshole to this kid?
Mhm.
But then like the whole showdown in the parking lot of like, do you want to sit on the back of the bike in the smoke and the dust, or do you want to ride in luxury? Like,
Mhm.
fuck you.
Yeah.
Man is a saint. He is a
Yeah.
saint.
He's a good guy. And I do like how Type warmed up to him, like his little speech to Man when he basically confessed that he likes him too. At
Mm-hmm.
one point, he reverses what the boss had said and says, like, I don't need fancy things. I just want someone that cares for me back. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, that's cute. That's cute. And then they hug, and you're like, yeah, this is some cute shit.
It is. It really is adorable. So I loved their couple. I thought they were so good together, and I would watch a whole season of them,
Hmm.
play fight.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I feel like there's a lot of unexplored um, ideas that you could do with them. They just have a really interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. So another thing that I really loved that I did not see enough of and I wanted more all the time was Tyne's friend group based on episodes 1 through maybe 4. So
oh yeah, the
yeah,
show fully said sorry to this man. They did not know who he was.
yeah. So in the beginning, Time's friend group was instrumental in him coming up with the idea of trying to date Sarawat. Like it was totally their idea. They're the ones who sat down and said, well, if dating another girl and poisoning Green's drink and all this other stuff is not going to work, have you thought about trying to find another man so that he'll know that, like, even if I'm gay, I don't want to be with you?
Right.
And they came up with Sarawat. They helped chase Sarawat down. The one friend was on social media like, oh, there's the Facebook group for Sarawat's wives, like did all the things.
Hmm.
And I thought it was really fun because even though they were helping him as much as they could, they were also like clueless idiots at the same time. So anytime they had a scene where the group was together and everybody was exchanging words, it was a fun time. And then it seemed like after Tyne got Sarawat, they were useless. And so they didn't get any more screen time. Or if they did, it was like one main person got a chance to speak, which was Frong,
Right.
the bestest friend. But
Hmm.
everybody else is like, they didn't exist. And that really stinks because I love a good friendship group. It's one of my favorite things about watching
Hmm.
dramas. And they had a lot of the potential to be very fun.
Right.
My
Yeah, I
favorite
agree. I like them a
friendship.
lot. They're just a bunch of dumb boys. It's just a charming dynamic.
Yeah. And also they were cute too.
Yeah.
Uh Frong is actually quite attractive, and I'd like to know when his main lead is going to be coming through because I will watch.
Well, we have to check my drama list and see if there's something in the works.
Right, because he's
Mm.
cute,
Mm.
real cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see more of their friendship group because they were very cute. When they were on, they were on. The only
Mhm.
time that they had kind of like, ugh, was when they were trying to keep Tyne from dating Sarawat, which that, again, if you were going to tie that into the insecurity thing, it could have been that his friend said, are you just dating Sarawat because you've run out of girls? Are you just dating Sarawat because he has been nice to you and maybe these other girls weren't? If they had
Right.
questioned that, I would have felt a different way. But
Right.
it came across kind of homophobic.
It did. I remember watching that episode and texting you being like, we gotta talk about this because I did not care for that. Did not care for that plot line.
Yeah.
But in the end, they showed up. They kind of like redeemed the light homophobia by um, Tyne's friend giving a very long and honestly somewhat silly speech about love over a dropped cup of juice. Do you remember that?
Yes, at the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Sarah was sleeping in the chair. He's like, if you really wanted the juice, you would have held on to the juice.
yeah, he drops the juice and
And it's like, a herd of girls ran over me. What am I supposed to do?
it's a metaphor, Sam. You just don't get it.
I guess.
Ooh, another part that I really loved about the show, I loved Green. Green was super, he was a scene stealer. Every scene he was in, I'm so sad that he like kind of got written out. But even when he would like pop up here and there, just in the background, he was always just having a good time. Especially that episode where they're in the woods and they're at the haunted tree, and he's just like the homegirl from The Rings. It's like, why? Why? But yeah, him and P. Dean were like so cute. I love that we got a little shot of them with like his arm around Green in the last episode. It was just very sweet.
That is another couple who I'd watch an entire show for. A lot of times in Boys Love, the tootsies of the crew are treated for comic relief and nothing more. And they're not seen as having deeper emotions. They're not seen with their own partners. Whereas Green, yes, in a lot of ways he was used for comic relief, but he was never played as weak. If you remember, he beat up all of Tyne's friends when they pretend to be muggers.
Right.
He was never portrayed as an unhappy person or unsatisfied person. He had a man who was desperate to get back with him.
And a hot man.
Yes, and a good-looking man, not like any old scrub off the street. P. Dim could get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was just really nice to see like there are different kinds of gay relationships, not the stereotypical like, you know, I'm super mask and you're super mask and we're going to do this. Or, you know, I'm feminine, but I'm not like over the top, big personality feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Green is like completely over the top, but he's also like, you could tell he's a person that has a very sweet soul. For instance, at the concert, when Tyne was super nervous to perform his song, Green was like, come on, let's give it up for Tyne. You know, he's just a good person. And so I would watch a whole show about P. Dim and Green.
Yeah. We love Green. Yeah. Green with the floppy wrists, which that's a joke if you know. And I can say it because I got him too.
I'm going to leave that to you. But yeah, I loved Green. I did. Now let's talk about a character arc again that I would like to rewrite completely. I'll tell you what's wrong, or I'll let Mason say what's wrong, and then I'll tell you how I would have corrected that. Mill and Sarawat's brother.
Oh, okay. So Mill, let me talk. I hated him. For the record, he's in the show. I hated Mill. Mill is this guy who goes to the university, the same university as Tyne and Sarawat, and he has a big boner for Tyne. And the whole show, he is trying to get in the way of Tyne and Sarawat. And, oh God, what's his name? What's the little brother's name?
I don't know. I always call him little brother.
So Sarawat has a little brother whose name escapes both of us because it was not important enough for us to know.
No, it's his little brother.
And little brother is really into Mill. He really wants to date him. He even tries to get into architecture at the university to like be in the same major as him, which is, girl, find something you like. Like architecture is a lot of work if you don't like it. And let me just say, Mill was not a good character. He literally beat up Sarawat with a lead pipe. Or at least his friends did, and he was just there with his fists. All we know is Sarawat got beat up by some guys with lead pipes and fists, and we know Mill was one of them. So, fuck that man. He almost killed Sarawat. I just found, like, and if someone's dating someone, I just think it's, like, so gross to be like, I'm still gonna hit on them. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, get your bushy eyebrows out of here. They're dating. Enough. Okay, if it were me, Mill would have been hit by a bus and died. I straight up would have just either written him out of the show, like completely, like he is not a character. We are not even gonna have him in the show. Or that dude got hit by a bus and died because I hate his character and he did nothing. And then at the end of the show, he's like, well, Tyne won't date me, so I guess I'll fuck Sarawat's little brother. And it's like, and then Sarawat's little brother.
Revenge.
Sarawat's little brother, baby, love yourself. You, inner saboteur right there. You have got to love yourself just a little bit because have some decency. That man beat your brother with a lead pipe. He was hot and cold with you for like a year. And then when he couldn't get what he really wanted, he moved on to plan B, and you knew you were plan B. Love yourself, Mr. Little Brother. Please. You're cute. You could get ass anywhere. But he is not the one for you. He's not the one for you.
I agree. I don't know much I could add to that. How I would have made it better, though. That's where I'll come in. So Mill, first of all, should have had nothing to do with the beating. I feel like Mill should have the problem that they had on the football field where he like kept fouling out Sarawat. He could have done some of that, but he didn't have to participate in the beating at all. Which, by the way, Sarawat was taking beatings left and right in this show. He got beat up coming out of the bathroom because they were like, "Quit posting pictures on your Instagram. My girlfriend likes them." What?
They could not think of anything better, apparently.
Does your girlfriend like other celebrities? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But anyway, if Mill's character had not known about the beating, if it had been like a conversation that they showed with him and his friend saying, like, the fuck, I didn't tell you guys to do that. That would have been one redemption for Mill.
Right.
Mill and the soccer field, that could have happened, but that would have had to happen before the beating. Because then you could say they didn't just beat Sarawat because he's dating Tyne. They could have beat Sarawat because they lost the soccer game. And
Right.
that would have been kind of more excusable and makes more sense.
Right.
Then when Mill realizes that Sarawat and Tyne are together, because let's just say that when they got on the camping trip, he wasn't sure. But once he knew that they were together, if he's like, okay, I'm backing out of this, I'm not going to have anything else to do with this. And that kind of mild flirtation he had with Sarawat's brother kind of started to heat up. Then I think that Mill would have been a lot more palatable because
Right.
it'd been like, okay, he didn't engineer this beating. Once he realized you guys were actually dating, he's like, okay, I'm going to back off of this. That would have been fine.
Right.
Then with the little brother, he shouldn't have denied that Sarawat was his brother, but people make mistakes. After him and Mill got into it on the concrete soccer field, where he's like, that's for beating up my brother, Mill could have then gone on like a I'm sorry apology run, trying to get him to understand, like, I didn't have anything to do with this. I swear I would never do anything like that. You have to believe me. You know who I am. And then after he comes back from the camping trip, he could have been like, hey, I want to help you study for your engineering exam. And as they're studying for the engineering exam, that's when those two get closer. That's when Mill starts to show his first romantic feelings. Because honestly, I don't feel like Mill had any romantic feelings for Sarawat's brother until after he got his ass kicked.
Right.
For him to go hot to cold all of a sudden, it's like it would have made more sense with after the camping trip and he realizes it's not going to happen for me. And then Sarawat's brother contacts him like, hey, I really need your help. I'm trying to get in, but I've taken a couple of practice tests and I'm really not doing well. The tutoring could have kept going. They could have got close through the tutoring. And then it would be like, okay, this is a relationship based on me getting to know you and liking what I know.
Yeah. Those are all really good ideas. I definitely think they're better than just killing him, which is my solution.
I just want to give an alternative because, okay, so you didn't watch Cause You're My Boy, which is the show that Mill and Sarawat's brother were on as the main couple. But I did.
Yeah.
And in that show, first of all, they have totally different characteristics. Like, still, Mill plays a little bit of a hard ass in the beginning, but that's because he had wanted to date I'm going to call them by their real names, Frank and Drake. So Drake is the one with the big eyebrows, and Frank is the Sarawat's brother. Drake wanted to date Frank, but Frank was like, I can't do this because my mom is super homophobic, and stopped talking to him as a friend. And that hurt Drake's feelings. And so when Frank came back into his life and was trying to get super friendly, he's like, no, no, no. I've been here before. You're going to hurt me again. I'm trying to keep you at a distance. And then slowly, Frank starts melting his defenses and they get back close again. But then the homophobic mother shows back up and tries to ruin everything. And so, based on that, I was really excited to see these two actors in this show because I was wanting to see another show with them together because they had a really good chemistry on their previous show. And the fact that this is how they did them, I realize in the book they didn't have a happy ending, at least from what I've been told. But to make it just seem like you're the consolation prize and I'm happy to be the consolation prize, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But, you know, what can you do? The gays aren't allowed to be happy in Thailand, apparently. It's just, ugh.
It also, in my opinion, kind of sets a trend that I've noticed in Boys Love of redeeming, like, somewhat irredeemable characters, like, for no reason. Like, they did it in Tharn Type, too. It's like, what's with this redeeming? They did it in Love by Chance. Like, why do we keep redeeming characters that are just shit people? You know?
I don't understand. Like, I get the tsundere trope. I get the bad boy being redeemed by the person with the heart of gold. Like, those are tales as old as time. And I get it. But there's some shit that people do in some of these boys' love that are absolutely unforgivable. Just right off the bat, like, this can never be a relationship. For example, Love by Chance 2 is going to be talking about the relationship between Kinkla and Techno. Kinkla raped Techno, flat out. No exceptions, no making excuses, no dubious consent. He raped that man.
Right.
There's no romance after that. There's none at all.
Yeah.
But they managed to redeem him. Same thing with Long. Long hired a group of men to rape a kid. He hired 3 men, drugged the kid, and let them rape him and videotaped it and use it to blackmail him. And then not even counting all the numerous other men he ran off away from Tharn. And then the brother comes in a year later talking about, don't be so hard on yourself. You're still family.
Yeah, no, fuck Long. Also, Long literally two types face was like, I'm gonna kill you, with his hands around his throat. Like, he was into kill. Yes. So it just reminds me of things like that, where it's like, why are we redeeming this character? He doesn't deserve a redemption. And if we're gonna give him one, that takes a lot of time to rebuild, and it doesn't happen in just 10 minutes in the last episode, you know? A great example, and it's like a go-to example, is Zuko from Avatar. And I'm just thinking of that because Avatar: Last Airbender is now on Netflix, is my favorite show of all time, and I've absolutely been rewatching it. Zuko has, like, the redemption story for the decades, and they should have taken some notes if they wanted to get a good redemption story, because 10 minutes in the last episode is not going to redeem Mill's character for me, you know?
Yeah, especially on a multi-episode arc. That redemption should have started after the soccer match, honestly. After the soccer match, he should have gone up to Sarawat and be like, I'm sorry that my bros did this to you. That was never my intention. When I challenge someone for love, I do it fair because I'm a gentleman.
Right. I would say, too, I think the show in general focused almost too much on Tyne and Sarawat. I get that they're the A couple, but I feel like after episode 6, 6 to 8, they should have kind of reorganized it to where they get together a little bit sooner. Not necessarily moving in, because they went from, yes, I'm going to date you, to we're moving in together in the span of like 20 minutes in an episode, and it was wild. I think they could have spread them confirming their dating and then moving in to a couple episodes apart. And then cut back, I would say, just 5 minutes of Sarawat and Tyne relationship stuff. Cut back 5 minutes an episode and give a couple more minutes an episode to one of the other couples to help build their relationships more, to help us feel a little bit more connected to them.
Absolutely. I feel like the moving in together should have been saved until the last scene of the last episode. Instead of 1 year later being in front of the music club, it would have been 1 year later, both of them have keys in their hand and they're getting ready to turn the lock on their shared apartment.
That is a much, much better button end to this story instead of just, hey, it's Scrub again. Because, like, the thing with Scrub, it's like, when they see Scrub together the first time, it feels very impactful because it had been built up. But when they see them again at the last episode, it's like, oh, I've seen this scene before, and you did it better the first time 6 episodes before, you know? So the emotional weight of that, like, isn't there.
Yeah. And like also, if we go with my alternative timeline where the insecurity is what's going to drive them apart, if they had watched Scrub and said, you know, if we make it for a year, if Sarwat had turned around and said, I know we've been having it rough or whatever, but if we make it for a year, will you move in with me? And he's like, yeah, I'll think about it. And then they cut to 1 year later and they're opening the door of their apartment. I mean, it's cliched, but I like it.
No, it works. I mean, I don't think this show is above a cliche like that, you know? Honestly, let's make it more cliche. They open up the door, they step inside, and they kiss. And that's it, cut to black. Like, just give me the cute fairy tale ending I feel like these characters deserve. Because at the end of the day, these two actors had great chemistry, and that really carried the show, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and probably the biggest thing I liked about this show, and we have danced around it a little bit, but it definitely needs to be emphasized. I think Bright and Wynn were perfect casting.
Absolutely. They were both really good in their roles, and I would love to see them in another story together.
Yeah, we've spent consecutive shows talking about bad acting when it came to Tosara and Love Mechanics. This is an example of where the chemistry between actors really can carry the ship. Because I don't think that people would have stuck around for those last episodes if they weren't so invested in Bright and Wynn as Sarawat and Tyne.
Right.
And definitely Sarawat, that was a hard character because when you look at him, he didn't have a large range of emotions, but there's a lot of charisma that comes from Bright. And so there are times where he really didn't have to say much because his eyes said it all. And then Tyne, he's like bottled up sunshine. Like he's just so you know. And even the first time he cried, the second time he cried was not as convincing. But the first time he cried because he's like, I fucked it all up, and this was supposed to be me giving us the happy ending. Like I was like, oh, look at our baby, he's got range. So you know, I have to say, I would watch another series with these two as leads, even if it wasn't together. The series, if it was something else, because I like them. I like them together, and I like them as actors.
Yeah. It just, they're so good. They're like Syncto and Christ from Sodas. They're almost that good, and it's just disappointing that they didn't get as good of a story, which is why I'm hoping there's a season 2 and they plan it out a little bit better. And it's just like they deserve better. It's not a bad show. I would honestly say my rating for this show, I give it a 7.5. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was above average. I would go back and rewatch parts of it, but I wouldn't rewatch the whole thing. So it's a 7.5 for me. So I
agree.
it, and I want a season 2.
I agree. 7.5 is a completely fair assessment. I would have gone with a 7. Like I said, the ending for me can really dock a show a lot, and the ending just really bothered me in a lot of ways. But yeah, I would love to see more of this cast. I think that there's room for more. There definitely is room for more. I think that, again, Mill and Sarawat's brother, there's a story to be told there. A lot of insecurities with those two. There's a story to be told, Man and Type, and even Frong, because I've seen floating around Twitter that Frong was in love with Tyne, but never made that move because Tyne only ever presented as straight. And so kind of Frong getting over Tyne and maybe moving on would be interesting to see.
That would be a really cool thing to see in season 2, like see if he can get a man, you know?
Yeah, and like how do you get over your first love?
Right. They set up, there's a great setup for Together. There's a great setup for a season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to see it. I think we are. I'd be surprised if we didn't. This has been a huge, huge hit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally see it now. Prong trying to get over Tyne because Tyne was his first love, getting advice from Type, and Type tells a story about his first love and
Mhm.
why it got him putting his walls up. And then Type and Man started to get closer and more intimate through conversation, and Man slowly putting down Type's walls. And then Mill and Sarawat's brother, that romance slowly growing, but then also Sarawat's brother still having a little bit of jealousy, knowing that he was the second choice
Right.
and trying to verify from Mill that, like, you didn't just choose me because I was all that was left, but you chose me because you actually liked me.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can really just take these characters and start writing. Like, there's so many different directions you could go with this. And there's a lot of good options. So,
Yeah. And since we haven't read the novels, everything we're saying here, if there's any similarity with the novels, great. If there's not, and the novels go in a totally different direction, that's great as well. You
right.
know, the point of the whole thing is we just want to see something that brings us back to this place emotionally, but
Mhm.
doesn't leave us high and dry the way this left us emotionally.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be kissing also. I want to put that out there because I'm really fucking sick of the people who are like, you're just mad because there wasn't skinship all the time, and you're just mad because you didn't get a big kiss. Bitch, a hug. A hug. When they won the music competition and he turned around and high-fived and hugged his bros, he should have turned around and hugged his boyfriend because that's a natural reaction. Who the fuck high fives? I've never seen that in the entire time I've been paying attention to pop culture. I've never seen a couple go to a fucking music award show and somebody wins an award and they lean over to their spouse like, high five, baby, and then get up on the stage. Fuck out of here.
Especially because the whole point was like Tyne was insecure. If I was Tyne and I was still insecure, I would have been like, a high five. We need to talk about this.
Right. A hug. It doesn't have to be a kiss. A hug is fine, but fuck, a hug. You know, and thirsty ass Sarawat who's constantly grabbing people's titties, you think he's not going to go for a hug or at least a titty grab? Come on now. In fact, I want this to be my thumbnail. Titty grab.
I don't have to lasso tool that. One more thing I do want to say. This is a side thing. This is just a scene I thought was really funny and liked. We've talked about it before. There's a scene where Sarawat and friends are playing football, and it was an AdSense scene because, as you know, these shows need to make their money, so they have a lot of obvious ads in it.
Oh, the Coke scene.
Yes, so they're playing football, and they're like, "Whoo, we worked up a sweat. Let's get a drink." And they open up the water cooler, and they pull out like the Thai equivalent to Pepsi, and they're just like, "Ooh, yeah, it's so good after running around." And you're like, who would drink a soda in the middle of exercising? And then to boot, they're just like shake it up and like explode it onto Sarawat, literally just so we can get Sarawat without his shirt. Like that is it.
It
They
feels
were
like
like,
that scene in Zoolander where they were playing at the gas station. All
yes,
they needed was Ram to
oh
be in the
my
back talking about
god,
jitterbug.
yes, 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 yes. Except for they didn't all explode. But this again, this isn't Cinema Sins. I'm not saying that the show is worse because of it. It was stupid, but it was really, really fun to watch because it was just so silly, and you knew they
Somebody
knew
has
that was
got to
silly.
edit that scene with "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go" in the background. I need to see it.
It's your destiny. It's your calling.
If I knew how to edit, I would. But
Yeah,
yeah, I would love to see that scene, but just "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go" play in the background while they're spraying each other down with soda.
that sounds like a great TikTok.
I'll let you have that one. All right, so yeah, together, you know, I don't feel like I wasted my time watching the series because there were some
No.
very good moments. You know what I was thinking the other day after watching Together? I was thinking how awesome it would be if somebody did a boys love version of Clueless. Like that energy from
Yeah.
Clueless, but turn it into a boys love.
I mean, I'm here for it. I love
Because like
You're
I love Clueless too,
just
but
a
I'm also
virgin who can't drive. Get on the ground. Oh, but it's an Alaya. Oh no, what a? It's like a really important designer. Get on the ground. Oh. And she gets on the ground. I love Clueless.
Clueless is wonderful, but like that same like wild madcap energy and like comedic thread all the way throughout, I
Mm-hmm.
think that'd be such a good setup for A Boy's Love.
Oh yeah, basically take YYY and mix it with My Engineer and like find the middle ground.
Oh,
I break.
and I want people to like randomly break out in song and like it totally looks like it's a musical, and then you get a camera from behind showing they just lost their mind.
Oh yeah, no, this is like teen. Have you seen that '80s movie Teen Witch where they just? It's not a musical, but that scene Top That where that white girl starts rapping.
Yes.
It's like that.
It's like no.
Like what is happening?
But yeah, like there's a lot of that kind of like great hyper energy that this series started with. And
Mm-hmm.
it just made me think like I would love to see like A Boy's Love, but like a Clueless Boy's Love,
Right.
where it's got
It's
that same
fun.
kind of madcap hyper comedic energy. Also, A Boy's Love where you don't see the couple coming until like halfway through the series,
Mm-hmm.
because we've never had that. We've always known from the very beginning who the couple was.
Oh, because it's
And
on
I
the poster.
it's on poster. But like, it would be interesting to have like a poster that shows a guy in the middle and shows like a couple of different options, and you don't know until maybe about 3/4 of the way through or 2/3 of the way through who the actual romantic interest is going to be.
That would be fun.
Yeah. A little intrigue. And then, of course, you have people like, oh, well, this was my ghost ship, or this is who you really should have been for, OTP
Mm-hmm.
forever. But yeah, I think that would be fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that wraps up Together.
It does.
So I think next week is My Engineer ending.
I thought that you said that they had 2 more episodes.
So this week and next week.
Yes. So, yes.
So
Okay. Cool.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I've been in a daze with this whole boys love thing, so please don't pay any attention to
it's
me.
okay.
I'm so
Um,
confused.
yeah, I mean, if we're wrong and it ends up being something else, we'll just say on Twitter what it is. But it should be My Engineer, which thank God I've been waiting to talk about My Engineer.
Oh my
Good
gosh,
things. Um,
they're so great.
but it will have to be like the episode will probably be up like maybe a day later, like on Sunday instead of Saturday, just
Yes.
because we normally film Saturday morning and the episodes don't come out until Saturday morning. So yeah, we can't film if we haven't seen the season finale. So it might be a day late. We apologize, but
Yes.
you do what you can for My Engineer.
It's worth it.
Mhm.
Like I swear every single show we end with singing My Engineer's praises. I'm not going to do that today. I'm not going to do it.
Just
But
go to your Instagram of the week, girl. It's on you.
okay, so my Instagram of the week is from the series Together, and it is TopTap_NC. So it's TOPTAPP_NC. Now, I am recommending Top Tap. And the reason I'm recommending, actually, this is the wrong Top Tap. Never mind. Fuck that. Oh my gosh. So I'm just going to be really transparent with you guys. I don't actually follow Top Tap on Instagram. I'm recommending him, but I don't follow him. So the actual Top Tap is, I'm going to have to spell this out for you. TOPTAP_GIRAKIT. So it's Top Tap_Jirakit. Top Tap played Type in Together, so Tyne's brother, and he fashions himself a dancer. And sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. But it's always worth checking out anyway, because whatever he happens to be dancing to lets you know what the TikTok trends are in Thailand. So I recommend it. He's been doing a lot better with his dancing, by the way, too. Some of his TikTok stuff is not great, but there's been some videos that he's put out with him dancing with other people where he's been really, really good. So
yeah. There was one that was going on Twitter where it was like I had only seen his TikTok dances, and I was like, these aren't that. They're not that great, but I think they're charming because he's really into it, and it's nice to see someone be into whatever they're doing. Like have passion for whatever they're doing, and he seems to like doing them. But then there was a video of him doing like an actual dance, and it was like, oh, you have
Yeah,
had
he
rhythm the
danced to
whole
Jay
time.
Park's Me Like Ya.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah, he was good with that.
how did you have rhythm this whole time? I did not know.
Yeah, so I recommend following him on Instagram if you like to watch people dance. You can also follow him on TikTok as well if you're into that app, not
Right.
me. But yeah, I think he's a really good one to follow. And I think out of all of the Instagrams from that show, his is the one that you might get the most enjoyment out of. The person that I follow and enjoy the most on Instagram is the person who played Man. That's Mike. I really liked him on Instagram. However, lately I've been thinking about unsubbing because all he does is repost his TikToks, and his TikToks are all very similar, which
Oh,
makes it not as much fun. Whereas Top Tap, he has some TikTok stuff, but he also has like just some regular life photographs and things like that. So it's got a little bit more variety. So that's why I think he'd be a better one to follow if you're going to pick
right.
someone from the show. Bright and Win, their Instagram is basically Ad City.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend following them. I follow them, but I wouldn't recommend following them if you expect to get like candid photos or anything else. For the most part, it is Instagram, and then every once in a while, Win will post something for like the birthdays of his friends, and Bright will every once in a while have himself playing guitar on Instagram, which he did a cover of Dean's Instagram on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Great look for him. Great look
Mm-hmm.
for him.
Yeah.
Oh, and Gunsmile is dating Zoel from fucking Why Are You?
Yeah. The gag.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Two of the least used characters on two of the hottest shows of quarantine together. Oh
Uh-huh.
my gosh. How long have y'all been? What's going on? What's happening? What's up?
Good
But
for them.
yeah. Well, we love Gunsmile. I don't really care anything for Zoel. She didn't make enough of an impression in the show as far as I was concerned. I remember thinking she was cute, but I also thought
Yeah.
she was 15. So I'm very surprised that they're going together.
Yeah, I would like to know how old she is.
Yeah, because her face it reads very young. But Gunsmile is the sunshine of our life. That's why we always stay around him. He has been involved in some form or fashion in almost every hit boys love series for the last 3 years.
Oh yeah, he was in He's Coming to Me, he was in Sodas, he's in Together. And he's always just a really fun comic relief character. Except Sodas. He was kind of like a douche in the beginning of Sodas.
He was like a douche slash confidant.
Yeah.
Because he was the confidant of fuck. I forgot Chris' character's name all of a sudden. Arctic. So he's like the guy that he goes to for advice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Gunsmile, he is literally the unspoken MVP of Together. His facial reactions during some of these scenes, it's just like, are you actually getting paid to be here, or did you just show up because you had nothing else to do?
He just looks like he has a great time on camera.
Yeah, it's like, oh, the scene when Man and Type confess to one another, and he's like, barbecue pork.
Yeah.
Oh, we love you, Gunsmile. We really, really do. So much love and blessings to your new relationship. I hope it doesn't affect your career in any way, because I know that fangirls be hating, but we love you, and we can't wait to see you in anything else you decide to do.
Congrats, Gunsmile and Zoel. I forgot your real name. I'm so sorry, girl.
I don't know either. Like, it doesn't matter though.
Yeah.
Tell your Gunsmile. Be happy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for sticking with us for another episode. Again, sorry for the lateness of it, but we're here and we're talking, and I think that we ought to congratulate ourselves for being as very positive as we were.
Yeah, I think this was like our nicest review yet.
Yeah. See what happens when you actually take the time to make a decent series? You get good reviews.
Yeah, good reviews from an unknown YouTube channel.
One day we'll be done.
I think we're fun. I
do too. But like, also, if you base this on the quality of like editing, lighting, camera,
it's not there.
We're doing about what we deserve.
Yeah, no, this is raw footage shot in daylight with natural lighting. hoping and praying nothing interrupts us bad enough. We can't edit it
Like,
out.
ding, ding. Oh, that's just my parents calling. Like, honestly,
I'm so sorry.
no. It's not me ragging on you. It's just like, considering the quality that we're delivering here, 100 views is about right.
Right. Especially when we have friends that like make like gorgeous looking videos. Like Carolyn makes the most gorgeous looking K-pop videos. And it's like, how do you have the production value? Please tell me.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like, can you let me know more? I want to know more.
Yeah.
Are like the people who are able to like edit all those lists of songs and stuff like that are like, oh, our friend Alondra, K hip hop, K R&B enthusiast.
Yeah.
Her videos.
We have some really talented friends.
What happened? How did we end up in this circle?
It's like the nice looking ones, and then we're like over here looking crusty. We're like, what's up? How is it, with our $0 budget?
But we here though. So.
Yeah, we're doing it. All right, well, I guess stay safe. Please still stay inside. Don't be a Karen.
Yes, please. And don't cause trouble at the grocery store. Fuck you. Quit trying to debate about your HIPAA privileges.
That's not even what HIPAA's for.
I'm sorry. You said Karen, and it just totally got me on that whole thing with that lady outside of Gleason's talking about, I have a disability. That means that I can't wear a mask. And according to HIPAA regulation, you have to let me shop in your store without a mask.
And what are you getting at the grocery store that's so confidential? Like, I get it if you're going to, like, the pharmacy inside, but, like, what are you buying that is so... Like, girl, if you're buying condoms, who cares? No one's judging.
First of all, the checkout stand, when you put that shit on the conveyor belt, everyone knows you're buying lubricant.
Yeah.
And in terms of your financial information, are you paying with a credit card? Then, bitch, we already know. We've got a whole machine to take money out of your account.
Right.
So this is just the dumbest debate. And she's wrong about saying, according to HIPAA, it's actually ADA rules that she needs to be abiding by. And because they've offered her an alternative route to complete her shopping and not letting her into the store, they have violated no federal law. So sit on that, Karen.
Mm-hmm. I just like that she came pre-prepared with the HIPAA statement. Like, it was rehearsed. And it's like, you got the wrong company or the organization.
Yes. Find a lawyer. Because HIPAA is about health information privacy. And it has nothing to do with the fucking grocery store. It has to do with your doctor. Get a clue. Right.
Like, I use HIPAA for work when because I see a therapist, and if I don't want to say I see a therapist or what I see that therapist for, that's like my discretion. Like, I don't have to tell my employer, here's the list of things why I see my therapist, No. All that any business is supposed to do is offer reasonable accommodation. You don't have to tell me what your disability is, but if I offer you a reasonable accommodation and you choose not to take it, the onus is on you. So find something the fuck else to do besides harassing folks. Yeah. Okay, well, we've been trying to wrap this up for a while. I'm sorry. I'm going to shut up. No, it's okay. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good week.